Back-to-back major cold blasts may be on the way for the East Coast. The West is expecting excessive precipitation over the next 4 to 5 days. That also comes with a severe weather threat, and more snow may be on the way for the Mid-Atlantic and New England. It's December 23rd, 2025. Let's get into the weather updates. Let's first take a look at our live radar, what's happening across the states. We have a nice stream of moisture here into Northern California, and a little bit of low elevation rain and high elevation snow out here in Eastern Oregon and through portions of Western Idaho. And out east, you can see we have a storm system dropping some snow in New York, PA, Jersey, New York City potentially right now, Long Island, Connecticut. Then you get down to the south and this is rain. This is likely still rain along the New Jersey coast. The temperatures are dropping as this system moves down into the south and east. So some of this is going to start as rain and then transition over to snow. I did want to quickly take a look at our precipitation portal here from NOAA. Snow-wise, this is what's still expected with this system that's moving over. You can see northern Jersey, maybe an inch or two, northeastern PA, the same, and then the Hudson Valley and portions of upstate New York get a little snow. Obviously, over the next 72 hours, we're expecting some good snow up here in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, northern upstate New York, potentially western Massachusetts and western Connecticut could get in on a couple inches as well. But there's potentially another snowstorm on the way this upcoming Friday, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Meanwhile, out west, there's some snow on the way for the mountains. Take a look at the Sierra Nevadas. I mean, this is a ton of snow. Look at this, 154 inches over the next 72 hours in some of the highest elevations out here. So a lot of snow on the way, a lot of flooding issues out here, even a little bit of a severe weather threat. So let's get into the 7 to 10 day forecast. This is our most updated 00Z Euro run from last night. Let's move forward in time through Tuesday, through Wednesday. We start to see our jet collapsing a little bit out to the east, and this is going to be some good snowfall, like I said. Northern upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. You guys could do really good, including coastal Maine. You guys could see 8 to 12 plus inches of snow potentially. Now, ridge is setting up over the plains. We're getting a little bit warm here. We know we're going to be warm for Christmas, and we are getting smacked with rainfall and snow out here along the west coast. Let's move this forward in time, Wednesday into Thursday. A lot of that moisture starts to transition out towards the central to northern Rockies, so potentially some good snow, or I'd say okay snow for portions of Utah, Colorado, in the mountains, Wyoming, Idaho, maybe even Montana, but we continue to see a heavy stream of moisture into California, and this snow is piling up in the Sierra Nevada. You guys are way overdue. You need this, so this is good for you. Moving out into Thursday and now into Friday, let's pay attention to what's happening up here. Once again, our jet is trying to collapse, and we have a snowstorm that is potentially taking aim at Philadelphia to Boston, and obviously inner New England, so we're watching that. This right here would be Friday morning, and guess what? The West still tons of snow, tons of rain. For the most part, we're above average temperature-wise with a lot of this out west. Now, of course, if you're up at elevation, it's going to be snow, but for places like Big Bear that probably haven't seen a lot of snow this year, I don't know if you guys have seen any snow this year. This, unfortunately, a lot of this might still fall as rain, even though you're at elevation, just because of the ridging that's been happening out west. Okay, let's push through Friday, and suddenly, on the latest Euro, a major ice storm begins to form out here from Michigan, pushing down through portions of PA and Maryland. We get snow on the northern end, rain on the southern end, mixing in ice in the middle. That's pretty common. Obviously out west, Friday into Saturday, we continue to see that flow of moisture, but it begins to slow down a little bit. Now, this right here is very interesting because if you take a look at the snow that's expected from this system on the Euro, it actually piles up a decent amount of snow in the mid-Atlantic from Philly to New York City, but you take a look at the future reflectivity, and this really just looks like a lot of ice for you guys. This is going to be a really close call. You can see what the Euro's doing here, and I'll actually push up to the northeast. There's the Euro. There's the GFS. I think it's being a little more generous with snow. You have to realize, though, these dark blues here, or purples, this right here could be 1 to 2 inches of snow an hour easily. This is heavy stuff the closer you kind of get to this low and this baroclinic boundary zone. So a little shift north, a little shift south of this clipper could be the difference between having 8 inches of snow on the ground or, and I'm not lying, having ice and maybe a dusting on the ground if this thing shifts a few miles north, a few miles south. So we have to watch this. We don't have our short range models in yet. We don't have the National Weather Service forecast yet. We'll have that likely coming in towards the end of today and into tomorrow morning, which will be very important, but this is extremely close. If we look at the 00Z of the Euro, it thinks we could see maybe up to 4.5 inches of snow in Philadelphia, maybe up to 7 to 8 inches in New York City, 5 to 6 inches in Boston, Long Island, 5 inches. Look at all the snow in upstate New York and northeastern PA, eastern PA, really in general. Some good snow in Jersey. We're talking 5 to 8 inches depending on where you are. You're going to want to be in northern Jersey to get more, but even southern Jersey is getting in on the snow here on the 00Z Euro run. Of course, New England, lots of snow up there. A lot of that's from an earlier system though. And the GFS is just saying, hey, congratulations. Philly, 5 inches. New York City, a foot. Long Island, 10 inches. The GFS is being extremely generous from Philly to New York City, Long Island, central to northern Jersey, northeastern PA, portions of upstate New York. This target area right here on the GFS, I'm sure would make a lot of people very, very happy. But again, this is kind of local precipitation forecasting. We want to be within 72 hours. We want to really be within 48 hours, get into our short range models. So I'll keep you updated on this. All right, so what happens as we push out past Friday? That snowstorm for the Northeast moves off the coast, and we have a pretty significant, at least on the models, looking pretty amplified trough beginning to dig down into the northern plains. This is going to want to push out east. This could end up coming with a little bit of a severe threat and maybe a bigger snowstorm than the models are showing right now, just because you got a nice Bear Clinic boundary right here, and we could get a little snow on the back end. Right now, just looks like we could have a little bit of a severe threat out east. A lot of that snow staying up here to the north. We'll have to watch that. Maybe a little ice storm for northern New England. And then again, we start to dry out west. Now getting into New Year's Eve. Let's push through the 29th. It's very, very cold right here on the 29th and 30th. We have kind of a negative NAO setting up right here, and you'll see that on our teleconnections in a second. But cold air sinking out east. This is as we move into New Year's Eve morning. We're hot out west. Another system begins to move down. This is basically midnight on New Year's Eve for us out east. You can see cold and potentially a lot of snow headed out towards the coast. The Euro right now, at least the 00Z, likes a chance for snow and maybe even Pittsburgh, Philly, New York City, Boston, someone up in the Northeast likes the chance for snow on New Year's Eve. We're talking about at midnight. Can you imagine this system speeds up a little bit and you get snow falling as the ball drops in New York City? That'd be awesome. Unfortunately, this is 222 hours out, so we need a little bit more time. We want to get closer to have a more accurate forecast, but cold air and moisture is on the way for the Northeast around New Year's Eve. So let's watch this timing, because that is possible, and that could be a pretty fun outcome there. Quickly taking a look at our 7 to 10 day temperature swings we're going to have here. This is the Euro model, temperature anomalies. Over the next 48 hours, we're pretty warm across the country. We get into Christmas. Here you go. This is really Christmas evening. We got some cool air moving into the Northeast. You can see this really from the mid-Atlantic, Maryland, up the coast. We're below average. Basically, the rest of the country is on fire on Christmas. Moving forward a little bit more, we get towards the 27th, 28th, and we get a lot of cold air rushing down into the east. We start to get that ridge building back up out west. And then moving towards New Year's Eve, we have some more warm air moving in out east, but it could be quickly replaced by more well below average air right after that as we get into New Year's Day. And this right here could be widespread 20 to 30 degrees below average New Year's Day into January 2nd. So this could be a very, very cold start to 2026 for the East. While the West starts off 2026 warm, well above average. I did want to point out our day 2 severe weather threat. You can see here, this would be a tornado threat here, 2% wind threat and hail threat. Now, I wouldn't expect any strong tornadoes. I'm talking EF3 plus, probably not even EF2 plus out here. The instability isn't really insane. You don't have a sharp dry line or steep temperature gradients, but you are going to have a little bit of instability here. So is it possible to see an EF0, EF1 out here along the coast, potentially through the Central Valley? It is. Again, I wouldn't expect anything major, but have your weather alerts on, because again, we also have wind threat, hail threat. We're going to have flash flooding issues, believe me. Speaking of that, take a look at our excessive rainfall. Day 1 excessive rainfall. So this is really, and day 1 means today, from Crescent City, Northern California, all the way down through Los Angeles. It's pretty much the entire coast except for down there in southwestern California near San Diego, but marginal to slight risk for flooding. That's a 5 to 15% chance here. Now let's move into day 2, and it gets pretty bad. You see this starts to spread out towards Las Vegas, southwestern Utah, portions of northwestern Arizona. But take a look down here near Los Angeles. Santa Barbara out through Santa Clarita, the valley out towards Big Bear. This is a high chance for flooding. High chance we could see some flash flooding in this region. From the Weather Prediction Center, about a 70% chance. And then Los Angeles, a 40% chance. Portions of Los Angeles will also be in this high region. You really shouldn't pay too much attention to yellow, red, pink. If you're anywhere in this region, you got to have alerts on. There's going to be some serious flooding issues tomorrow in this region here. Take this seriously. The amount of rainfall is going to be staggering for some of these areas. You could see 10 inches of rainfall in the next 48 hours. That is an insane amount of rainfall in 48 hours. This would be a ton of snow for Big Bear if it was colder. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be mostly rain. But look up and down the California coast. This is an obnoxious amount of rainfall. So like I said, take the flooding risk seriously. I'm very concerned. This is going to be a lot of snow for the Sierra Nevadas, but I'm very concerned for the Los Angeles region, especially here tomorrow with that flash flooding mudslides. It's going to get a little dangerous out here, so just make sure you know what's going on. Last thing I wanted to cover here really quickly is our teleconnections. Here's the latest European ensemble. You can see our Arctic oscillation trending negative to neutral back to negative. Our NAO wants to go negative right here. This is why we're getting that big push of cold air right before New Year's Eve and right after New Year's Eve, and then a big dip. This would be interesting if we got a big dip here, a negative NAO getting into the 4th, 5th, 6th of January. But also you see the PNA going negative at this time too. And this is what I was talking about in my last video and my live yesterday. You get the Arctic oscillation going a little negative, PNA negative, NAO negative. You're going to get that polar jet collapsing pretty far to the south. And we could be cold from coast to coast and maybe have kind of a cold zonal flow across portions of really from the southwest through the southern plains out towards the southeast. This could put a little bit of snow somewhere in northern Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, the Carolinas with that kind of really collapsed jet. So definitely something to watch. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'm constantly putting videos out like this and live streaming to answer all of your weather related questions. And if you want to join an awesome weather community, the link to my Discord is in the description of all of my YouTube videos and lives. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video or live stream.